Let's do this.
Finally TV, here we are, party people, once again back in the building with another Voice of the Valley. So before we get started, I want y'all to hit that like, hit that share, let everybody know what you're doing right now, because we got to get these numbers up. We getting the numbers nice, we got to get them all the way up. Finally TV's rocking, we got to let the world know. So hit that like, hit that share, tell your friends to subscribe, tell the friend to tell the friend, let's get it. Without further ado, your boy Gabriel bringing people into the studio today. And I say studio on purpose. We not always going to have the artists on deck, right? You know that. We had Drawzilla in the building one time. You know, we got a bunch of cool DJs. Shout out to Tech One and DJ Bill Skills and Flatline, right? Who's recording all this music, though? Right? Who records this music? Why don't anybody respect the studio work? So today, I bring in the man, the myth, the legend.
I like that.
John Eldred, who happens to run Central Sun Studios. How are you, sir? And welcome to the show.
Welcome to the show. Well, thank you for having me, Tristan.
Yeah, that's right. See, he's so used to hosting and doing things at his crib. He come in here talking about thank you. But but thank you for coming. Appreciate you.
Appreciate that.
You was supposed to be on here a minute ago, maybe like 2 years ago.
Yeah, we were definitely supposed to do this a long time ago.
Yeah.
A long time ago.
Yeah. And you know, I think things work out the way they need to, because since that 2 years, in that 2 years, you've been super busy.
A lot has happened.
Yeah, you've been doing things, and I think it'll make for even a better conversation now.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Much better. More progress, more involvement, everything.
Yeah, yeah. So we're going to talk about it today. We're going to get the people real familiar with you, and hopefully we get, maybe there's rappers out there and singers out there that don't even know that there's a dope studio right around the way that they could go to, you know what I mean? And we could do that. So, John, man, I like to start all these videos off by asking people, you know, where are you from, and how did you end up in the Hudson Valley, though?
Born and raised in Newburgh.
Okay.
Born and raised St. Luke's in Newburgh, so 37 years ago now.
Okay.
I moved away slightly, like in high school, but like 3 months, came right back.
Okay.
So,
Yeah,
and that had nothing to do with me, but
no.
I've actually been in the same house, same everything for my whole life. So
Get out.
Yeah.
Okay, so born and raised. New Biddy the City. Shout out to my man Blackout. But yeah, man.
Yeah, shout out Blackout too.
Yeah, that's the homie. He speaks highly of you too. He's like, that'd be dope. And I told him that me and you was gonna get together. He's like, okay, I like it, you know.
Yeah, I met. So before the ciphers I actually do now, we had I tried one, and it didn't do anything. But
okay,
he did a verse on that one actually.
Okay,
a long time ago. This is probably 4 years ago now.
Got you.
So this is way before all this stuff happened.
When he was like brown out. Gotcha, Black.
That's funny.
So, you know, usually I ask people why they're here, but I'm going to tell them why you're here. You're here because you're a local businessman with a space that you call Central Sun Studios, where you do some engineering, recording, and you're going to talk a lot about that today and tell us exactly what's going on there. But that's the gist. Central Sun Studios is what brings you here today.
Yes, sir.
The ciphers that you've been putting out is the secondary reason why you're here today. And the third reason you're here is to talk about those two things in detail, right? So tell me a little bit about Central Sun Studios. Tell me how you came up with that name and why you even have a studio here in Newburgh.
All right, so I started actually recording long time ago. We were like 15. I would remember the double cassette tapes.
Yep.
We would have a beat instrumental on one and a blank one on another one. We'd go back and forth like that.
Yeah.
Which I think a lot of people started out like that.
Mm-hmm.
But one thing led to another. I stopped actually being an artist. I'm not gonna talk about that. But
I was there.
I'm like, you know, I'd rather be behind the music, because I'm not the type of person that wants to be right in front.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like the man behind the music, preferably. So
Okay.
I'm like, no, let me focus on that and try to do that. So when I was like 18, I took a small loan. That was like $6,500. I bought like a G5. I bought Pro Tools.
Okay.
I bought a mic, all that stuff.
Yeah.
I had no idea what the hell I was doing. I just
Sure.
know I needed Pro Tools and a G5. So.
Yeah.
And I go big or go home, so I'm not gonna buy like a little Mac. I'm gonna buy like I'm gonna take a loan out to buy it. You know.
Yeah.
So I had no idea what I was doing for like a while.
Mm-hmm.
One of the artists I was working with at the time, we used to go down to the city a lot, so I used to watch
Mm-hmm.
the engineers in the city
Mm-hmm.
and see what he was doing, how he was doing it.
Mm-hmm.
He hooked me up with some Waves plugins and stuff. Like
Okay.
he knew I was trying to learn, so
Right.
he definitely tried to help me out, like mentor me a little bit with that. So I learned a little bit, and then I finally went to school. And was it 10 years ago now?
Mm-hmm.
Went to IER, and
Oh, okay.
which they shut down now.
Yeah, it's in the city, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And down in the village.
Mm-hmm.
You see some crazy shit down there.
I bet you do.
But it was nice because like there's a lot of audio engineering schools, but that school was lined with platinum plaques from my teachers.
Mm.
You know what I mean? My teachers did everything from Journey to Celine Dion to Hector Lavoe.
Right.
Like
Okay.
a lot of people.
Yeah, yeah. That's a
some-
wide range.
That's a wide. They've done everything. The
Yeah.
Roots, Wu-Tang.
Yeah.
They built studios. They've done all kinds. You know what I mean? All
Mhm.
kinds of stuff. So, being able to have them as not just teachers and mentors, but friends now. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Like I can call them right now,
Mhm.
and send them something to mix for me if I want to.
Okay. Yeah.
Mastering engineers, like like I said, they build you whatever. So
Mhm.
that really helped me. Encouraged me really because and now I'm friends with these people that have
Yeah.
platinum plaques.
Mm-hmm. Like
And-
it's doable. This is obtainable.
Yeah, and now it makes you feel like I'm on the level with these people.
Right, right.
And it was nice.
Yeah, yeah. So Central Sun, where'd that come from?
I used to be. I was trying to figure out a good name for a long, long time, and I'm a very positive, like, positive type person. So, ironically, my ex, my kid's mom, she showed me the meaning behind it,
Okay.
which it has to do with the central light of the universe
Okay.
and all creativity and
Mm-hmm.
positive energy coming from this one source.
Got you.
And I'm
Got
like, that's kind of dope. I
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that. I like
yeah.
the whole concept and everything.
you. Yeah.
So I started running with that, and I'm like, I need a logo. I'm trying to figure out, like, how do you come up with a logo for
Right,
that?
right. We'll put that
So-
on the screen.
Yeah. So what I did was I just Googled Central Sun,
Okay.
and it's actually the Great Central Sun.
Okay.
And what I found was like this, like, statue doing some like praying to something, but it had a blank face.
Yeah.
Which I thought was perfect because it doesn't represent any one
Right.
race, ethnicity, anything. It's
Right.
just a being.
Right. Right.
And I was like, let me just throw a sun behind that and don't mess with the shade. And I had somebody do it for me, mess with the shading, darken it, do this, and I came up with what I have. So
Yeah, no, that's dope. And I know I do. I know I have it on the screen somewhere. So that's the one he's talking about. That one right there.
it's like it has to do with like the great ascension of positivity and creativity, which I think is perfect for studio.
Yeah, no, I do. I mean, the light source, you know what I'm saying? I mean, the analogies you could build in there with creating music are endless. You know what I'm saying? So.
Exactly. So, and like I said, I'm a positive person, so I try to you can't control artists, and I don't limit myself to the type of artist, but
Sure.
I guess you could say I tend to lean more towards like the positive
Mm-hmm.
artists and stuff like that. But
Yeah, no, I get it. So let's talk a little bit about Central Sun, and maybe now is a good time for you to look into the camera lens and tell them where they can find you, where how they can locate you, all that
so
good stuff.
most of my stuff is really just through Central Sun Studio. For some reason, they want let me put the S on it. So on Facebook, I guess there's somebody in Canada or something that already has Central Sun Studios. So I'm like, whatever.
Okay. Yeah.
So it's actually Central Sun Studio on Facebook. It's a fan page. I have it on Instagram too. I don't really deal with too much Instagram. I should.
Yeah.
I'm just still learning it. I'm still
Yeah.
I'm getting older, so I'm learning that stuff.
Yeah.
But Facebook is definitely like my main thing I promote.
Okay, got you.
Fan
And
page.
that's where the business
And the
is going
YouTube
down?
and the YouTube page too. Actually, Central Sun Studios.
Okay, see, there you
So
go.
yeah, it's on YouTube too.
YouTube, Facebook, a little bit of Instagram, and if they want to do business with you, Facebook's the way to go.
Yep, you could do that.
Okay. Is there a phone number for Central Sun that you want to shout out?
You can call me 845-542-7211.
Okay.
The phone is always on me. So
There you go. Okay. And so not that I'm slow, but sometimes I need things explained to me a little bit. So talk to me a little bit about like what your role is in Central Sun. I know you own it and all that, and that you're responsible for it. But what's your role? Like, you're engineering? Are you beat making? Like,
yeah,
what's
I'm
going on?
engineering. I used to do beat making probably 20 years ago now. But
Okay.
once it started to become frowned upon to sample,
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't that creative enough to make an original beat on my own.
Gotcha.
So
Okay.
I was humble enough to know, like, this isn't. That's not what I want to do.
That ain't it.
It's not. I'm not gonna go anywhere with this. So
Right.
I honed in on engineering, and
Okay.
so now I just basically do engineering, mixing, mastering. Do a little bit of mastering, but recording and mixing, I would say.
Gotcha.
I wouldn't label myself a mastering engineer.
Yeah.
But I could do it a little bit.
And I think that's because you went to school and you were around all those great people.
Yes.
And you know what it takes to actually be a mastering engineer.
Yeah, I don't have that.
Yeah. It's crazy how we were talking about this earlier. You know, artists will worry about their penmanship and what they're writing and then their melody, but they never think about who their producer is going to be, and more importantly, who their engineer and where they're going to record their stuff at. You know what I mean?
Because sound quality is important. Like,
Oh my God.
people don't understand. A major label, if you're trying to shop to a major label and they hear a shitty recording,
Mm-hmm.
they're gonna say, "Well, you don't invest in yourself."
Right.
So why am I gonna invest in myself?
Right.
Why am I
Right.
gonna invest
Invest
in
in
you?
you. Yeah.
If you don't invest in you.
You're right.
Like, I always use like Jay-Z for example. If you ever listen to Jay-Z's album, excuse me, his albums are always louder and clearer than anybody in that year,
Mm-hmm.
than any other rap album that year.
Right.
He has the best engineering in the world.
Right.
He
Right.
always has, even on Reasonable Doubt.
Right.
That album was louder than every rap album that year.
Wow.
The mastering, the
It
mixing,
played harder.
everything was bigger.
Yeah, yeah.
But look how big Jay-Z is now.
yeah, definitely.
It's a big part, and
Yeah.
not to take anything away from his skill and talent,
No.
but that makes you want to bump it more in your car.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Absolutely.
If it knocks, if it sounds good, it's big, it's bright, it's clear.
Mm-hmm. It's interesting you say that. Just last night, Blackout and I were talking about some greats, and we were talking about Nas and how Illmatic is probably one of the worst engineered albums of all time. But it's it's top five.
Yeah.
I mean, all time, right? But the engineering on it is horrible.
You know what it was? The engineering in the 90s, they were trying to figure out rap still.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't know
Right.
how to. Look at the low end theory.
Yeah.
It's not
yeah.
like, it's
real bassy.
It's real bassy,
Yeah.
but that comes from tape. Dealing with tape though,
Right.
because tape, if you put too much highs on the tape, it'll actually jump the tape.
Yeah.
It'll lower, like you can, and it only had a certain amount of dynamic range
I was gonna say dynamic
that
range,
you
yeah.
could actually use on tape. So now with
Gotcha.
digital, it's actually twice as much, something like that.
Wow.
Like you can get a lot more out of it. So.
Got you. Yeah, I love talking to people like you, and I hope the artists out there are just listening to what you're saying and really taking into account, because it does matter where you record, how it gets engineered, and more importantly, like, you got to be dealing with somebody like a John Eldred who will be recording you and making it as best he can, and then turn around and tell you, okay, now you got to send this for mastering. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, like I said, I could do it a little bit, and I always say it's mixed and mastered, but it's not a $250 master.
Right.
And not enough people. Actually, one of my teachers the other day that does the mastering, he was just complaining, kind of griping a little bit the other day, like, not enough people are interested in the mastering process anymore.
Right.
Like,
right.
nobody wants to do $250 for a master.
Right.
Nobody's investing in that.
Right.
But that's gonna make your sound way
Yeah,
better.
Way better. And I'm a little, like, I know enough just to, like, talk the lingo with you,
Yeah.
right? So, like, for the people listening that might be really interested in what you're saying, and I know you might not know them like back of your hand, but what are the components of mastering something? Like, what are you really looking at?
I would say glue and dynamics.
Okay.
Glue meaning when you mix something, the vocals, they have their own space, but when you glue it together, it's just better. I don't know how to really explain that.
Yeah.
So it's better, and most of the time it's making it louder. But most people think if you raise it up too much, enough, you mastered it. But it's not the same.
Yeah,
like,
no.
You can compress it and EQ here and there, and like it's really like. So when you record something, you want to get it clean recorded, and you mix it and you mix it together. When you master it, you make it one.
Right. Yeah, like that's the function that I understand it to be. Like, you can do like all your levels and everything, you know, and it'll sound one way. But when you send it into the compressor, because I have one, right? I have a small in-unit compressor, right? And it gels it together. It really
It does something.
Yeah. You know, it puts it all in a bow. It's not separate anymore.
And that's just proof, because so when I mix something and I record something, I look at it from a scientific kind of point of view. It's more like a science project for me. Like, how do I get? Because when you're mixing, you're just manipulating things.
Right.
You know, you just want to manipulate sounds and make them sound good.
Right. Right.
Make you feel like you're hearing something you're not. Like echoes and reverbs and stuff
right.
like that.
Right.
I recorded in a booth, so you don't have any of that.
Right. Right.
That gives you a depth perception in your brain.
Sure.
Like, you know, it's all psychological. So
Yeah.
same thing with mastering and mixing, all that stuff. So
Yep.
I try to take that approach, and the fact that you don't really know how it does it or what it does, but it does it, proves it's all scientific.
Yeah. No, it's true. It's true. There's so much to learn just in the recording side of everything. You know that I respect it when people respect how much of a undertaking it really is to try to be a master at that. You know, so salute to you for getting to where you've gotten. You know what I mean? With being able to mix and record.
Listen, you know, I'm learning every day.
Sure.
Honestly,
sure.
I feel like, you know, they say a doctor's always practicing, but I feel like everybody's always practicing.
Gotcha.
Engineers are always practicing, especially with audio.
Gotcha.
Because things change every day.
So let me ask you, I don't mean to cut you off. It just dawned on me now. Somebody like you who has gone to school, who has the experiences, who has his own stuff and putting it all together, let's just tell the people, what's a fair rate for an artist just picking up the phone and calling somebody like you? What's a fair rate from your point of view?
I think that all depends on your area.
Okay.
I look at it like, obviously, if you're in Manhattan, you have
Because your space is going to cost more.
It's going to cost your space is going to cost more, and you as a person are more valuable because people have more money.
Right.
You know, you're not going to put a Bentley dealership in Newburgh.
Right.
It's just the money's not there.
Right.
Even though that Bentley's well worth that $300,000 or
Sure.
you know whatever.
Sure. You're only going to sell one though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I look at it as a demographic thing.
Sure.
So in this area, I think I do 25 an hour, and that's only because that's what I make. I'm not charging for my space.
Okay.
Because I don't have that commercial space yet, which I'm working on. But
Gotcha. Okay.
But that would be another. You'd have to. I would obviously have to up that a little bit.
Yeah.
To compensate for the rent.
Yeah. Sure. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Me personally, I feel like 25 an hour is a fair rate.
Okay.
It's not like you're not killing it. You're not $50 an hour, but most people can afford that.
Right. No, I get it. I think that's super fair. And it's sometimes it's up to the artist too how many hours they're gonna be in there, right? If you're going in there unprepared and you know.
Well, what I was doing, I was charging by the song.
Okay.
Just because it's easier for people to budget.
Okay.
I want to do 10 songs. It's this amount per song.
Gotcha.
I know when I gotta pay.
Okay.
Instead of, well, how many hours can I?
Right.
You know what I mean? Trying to figure it out in your head.
Right.
It's just easier. But then I realized. So not everybody comes prepared. So
Right.
I'm like, I'm spending like 4 hours on these songs. I'm only charging like $60.
Right.
Now I'm down to like $15 an hour.
Right.
And yeah.
It's not worth it for anybody.
It's not worth it.
You know what I'm saying? Because you know we talked about it earlier. The equipment you have, it's not cheap.
No, it's not.
You know what I mean?
It's not.
It's not cheap.
I'm just bought something else the other day. It's like, that's another $130 a month I pay on that.
Yeah, no, it's not cheap, and the schooling that you had is not cheap. The time you invested into that is not.
I think if you
know?
if you include all the schooling and the cost of all that and all the stuff, I probably got $60,000-$70,000 invested.
Wow.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah, absolutely.
For somebody just to say, yeah, $50 is too much. Like, no,
right,
really?
right. It's so important to invest in yourself, and I talk about it all the time.
Yes.
And you and I talked about it too. You know, the importance of that, and you just said it just clear as day. You know, investing 60-70 grand into a craft so that you can invite people over to record something for a fee. You know what I mean? That's the way the world works. That's the way it's supposed to work. You know what I mean? There's nothing for free.
And just like people want to charge for a feature, so you got to pay for that. Like,
right.
Everything there's a fee for everything.
Yeah.
And I say that, and I also say this: your team is very important.
Sure.
So you need a team, especially as an artist. So you can't be the artist, the engineer, the producer. You can't do everything. So there are a few people that you work together. You know, you don't necessarily have to charge everybody.
Right.
You push that one artist.
Right.
You know, as a team.
Right.
Everybody has a dream team.
Yeah.
And without that dream team, you don't go anywhere.
Right. Shout out to Spartacus. Spartacus, like a year ago, maybe almost 2 years now. Shout out to Finally TV being around for so many years, right? But no, Spartacus said that. He was like, yo, I'm starting to really make some moves now, and it's all because the team around me decided we're all going to put money into one pot. And then that money that's in that pot, we're all gonna decide, okay, we're gonna push this song, or we want to do this video. Even though there's 20 artists and there's probably 20 different songs, this one song we're gonna all push this way. And he's like, there's so much more traction behind it. I'm able to do shows with this stuff. You know, people are actually hitting me up wanting to know what's up. You know what I mean? He's like, that's the way to do it.
And I think a lot of that stems from people wanting immediate results.
Right.
You're not going to get that.
No.
You're not. As an independent, listen, 50 was underground for 10 years.
Yeah, man.
50 Cent.
Yeah, absolutely. Look at Eminem.
They didn't even want to sign him
Yeah.
after he came out with Had to Rob.
Yeah.
I was watching the thing the other day, the evolution of hip hop.
Yep.
And like, no, nobody even wanted to sign him.
Yep, after that.
No artists wanted to work with him.
Yep.
No nothing. Now look at him.
That's a dope show, by the way.
It really is.
Yeah.
And honestly, I feel like if you do anything in hip hop, if you're a rapper, producer, anything, you have to watch that.
Yeah.
You have to understand where that comes
It's
from.
on Netflix, right? Evolution on
Yeah,
Netflix.
yeah.
Yeah. So I think it's a dope show, man. It takes you back because it does like old school hip hop.
Yep.
It does.
And
newer
it's chronological, so it
Yeah.
starts in back in the day. And
Yeah.
when like Grandmaster Theodore. And
Yes.
all all that stuff back then. So.
Yeah, I got to meet him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Grandmaster Theodore. Because in Jersey they have that big DJ summit every
Okay.
year. And shout out to John Kilmeyer. He brought me out there. We went there for MSV. And we're chilling in this spot, and all of a sudden he's like, "Yo, Gabe, come over here. You gotta meet this guy." And I'm thinking like, who,
Just some guy.
Yeah, and it's him. I was like, "Yo, it's like a pioneer, like, you know what I mean? We wouldn't even be doing some of the things we do without these dudes." You know what I'm saying? Like,
and honestly, I feel like that's a lost thing. Like if you listen to songs in the '90s, whether it's Nas or Tupac or whoever, they always have that one song on their album that's paying homage to the people before them.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah.
They don't do that anymore.
yeah, no, I know.
Nobody, even when it comes to like videographers and photographers, nobody knows who Spike Lee's story is. But you're shooting videos.
Hype Williams and all that.
But you're producing videos. Like,
Right.
you're not producing videos, but you're what do you call that? You're doing videos. But you don't know who that is.
Right.
You need to know, like, you need to understand where that comes from.
Correct.
If you're a producer, you got to understand Premiere and his, like, you got to, you know what I mean? If you're a rapper, you got to understand, or a DJ, you got to understand Cool Herc. You got to understand how,
Right.
you know,
How
you got to know these things.
yeah. It'll make you better for it. You
It
know
will,
what I'm saying?
because you'll understand the process better.
Yep. And you grow an appreciation when you understand the history of something, you know, especially if you love something, you know, like if you love rapping, if you love DJing.
You should master that. You
Yeah.
should always be learning that
Yeah.
every single day,
Yeah.
whether it's YouTube, going to whatever you're doing. Like, you have to like really focus on that. And master that craft and like,
I agree wholeheartedly, brother. So you've told a lot of your story, like the story that I would normally tell on Voice of Valley. We basically summarized it just now, right? But the one thing that we have to get to